Well, UFC 217, the UFC's return to New York, an absolutely wonderful fight card. We saw history take place, 3 new champions crowned, unprecedented, never happened before in the history of the UFC. And of course, in the main event, George St. Pierre comes back from a 4-year layoff and defeats Michael Bisping to become the new UFC middleweight champion, only the 4th fighter in UFC history to win titles in 2 divisions. It's not too much of a discussion here in terms of what's next. There could be a twist somewhere along the road, but all indications, according to Dana White, according to everyone else involved, it's the title unification bout with Robert Whittaker. That's what's going to happen next. Robert Whittaker's kind of been waiting in the wings for the winner of this fight. He's the guy, he was cage side, he was cheering, he was happy. Again, there could be a twist there, but I just really think the UFC wants that fight to happen. Robert Whittaker deserves it. That should be George St. Pierre's next fight. In terms of the co-main event, another new champion, TJ Dillashaw, regains the title from Cody Garbrandt, scoring a spectacular knockout and just a wonderful fight too. I really thought that was really entertaining, and for him, back on top of this weight class and arguably should have been there all along. I thought he didn't lose that fight to Dominic Cruz. Still, to me, the best bantamweight, and for him going forward, it seems like we might get the super fight with Demetrious Johnson. It seems like that's the direction the UFC wants to go. That's what Dillashaw wants. It seems like Demetrious Johnson is more open to it than he was before. I heard him talking earlier in the week saying that if Dillashaw comes down, he's more than willing to make it happen. So the UFC should absolutely book that. I think it might take a few hurdles in terms of compensation, making sure Dillashaw can make the weight. Nonetheless, if the UFC can book that, no doubt it should happen. It would be a huge fight, a fight that you don't see that big in the flyweight division. And of course, just below that, we see Joanna Jędrzejczyk dethroned by Rose Namajunas in one of the most stellar performances by UFC title challenger. Namajunas goes in there, puts her away in the first round, and for her, I think she's going to be seeing Jędrzejczyk again immediately. I think the UFC runs back that rematch unless Jędrzejczyk decides she's done with the cut to 115. We do know it's tough for her, but I think that rematch makes a lot of sense. Long-term dominant champions usually get that opportunity to run it back, so I think for Rose Namajunas, we see a rematch with Joanna Jędrzejczyk next. So very big shakeups in the UFC. Lots of new faces in the weight class, lots of new champions, and going forward, we have some really exciting stuff to look forward to.